to have abused so many children where your first move is like, let's get our books in order because this is going to be a long battle.
Yeah.
Like, let's just get this out of the way first. We're guilty, but like, we don't want to pay you.
Yeah. And we're back.
Action. Yeah.
Welcome.
Major spillage alert.
Yeah.
If you listen to this podcast, you will get wet regardless of your gender, man, woman. You know,
Splash
you will
zone.
spill things on yourself. Could come from a cup, could come from your own body, but
Yep.
it's just like this podcast gets the people going. It gets people wet.
That is so true. Wet and rowdy. Come ready to party. This is Breaking Takes. We're about to break down some news.
Yes. Welcome to Breaking Takes, everyone. I got so excited about this being our last in-person podcast for a while that I just ejaculated LaCroix onto myself.
I know. And that's really flattering.
Yeah.
I feel sad, but I know we'll meet again.
Yes.
And you can continue to ejaculate LaCroix. Do they have LaCroix in Panama? They probably have something similar.
I know they definitely have seltzer. And by the way, I'm going down to Panama for a few months.
Do you want to know his address? I have that too.
Yes, it is 25 Cascolen in Panama City, Panama. And yeah, hopefully I'll survive. This is the second time I'm going down there to live with my girlfriend while she's doing some lab work down there.
Yep.
Experimenting on some mosquitoes. And the first time I was down there was before we started Breaking Takes. And now things are higher stakes because we just crossed 1,000 views on Reels. We got a reel with 1,000 views. So now if I die, people are going to know it. They're going to be like, where'd the Reels go?
Yeah, like, seriously.
Zach's dead. People will care.
You're the real guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just in there. I'm a co-star on those.
Yeah. My obituary will say before brother, before son, before partner, it will say co-host of Breaking Takes, Zach Rosefeld, perished when the Panamanian cartel.
Oh, no.
But if anything happens to me, I'll record it and try to get it back to you somehow.
Thank you.
Just to like
I'll throw it up on the gram.
On Supercast.
Yes, on our Supercast.
I promise if I succumb to the Panamanian cartel, I will have them live stream it on Supercast.
And they will.
Yeah.
From the news I've been reading, it seems like these cartel people really enjoy documenting the work that they do.
Yeah. And did you hear about, this isn't even my story. This is how much I read about death and like terrible things happening.
Are you going to talk about like the 4 boys that
got beheaded by the Mexican cartel?
Yeah, we went down the same wormhole.
Yeah. I think the one thing that people don't take advantage of when they're getting beheaded by the cartel is you want to get the views. You want to monetize your own death if you can.
Yeah.
And just like, because we passed 1,000 views on a reel, I'm going to be thinking in the back of my mind, like, how can I help the cartel help me? We'll both help each other. I'll be like fixing the lighting because I'll be like, wait, you don't want the blood to like splatter in this direction because you can't really get the full effect. So I'll be on the mic as I'm getting beheaded, like in real time. I'll have the camera set up over there. Like I'll help them out to get the footage to send for my ransom.
Going viral.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you'll be dead, but you will have gone viral.
My soul, my podcast soul, I'll still be a co-host in spirit.
Yeah, I'll refer to you in every show.
And if it does happen, this will be the most listened to podcast of all time because people will go back to like, do you remember when he predicted his own death by the cartel?
Yeah, I hope you don't die via cartel, but if you do, I absolutely do hope that it goes viral.
Yeah.
And I reap all the rewards.
I hope so too. I'll even put in a thing that says like, when my partner tries to swoop in and do like all the estate, like the other stuff where she's like, I'm replacing you. I'll be like, you don't get 50%. You didn't do the hosting responsibility.
Yeah.
Like I'll break you off like a nice like 10 or 20% piece, but like you can't just slide into the co-hosting role.
No.
Like it's going to be a battle for
this
competition.
This is serious. This is work. This is life.
Yeah.
This is money.
Money. Money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. It's exactly what the cartel is going to be saying to my parents when when they have me on video. I think it would be funny, like, because you always see the videos where someone gets kidnapped and the parent goes, put it, like, I want to speak to my daughter right now. And the daughter's like, oh, Dad, like, please just give him the money. Huh? And then it cuts back to the kidnapper and he goes, you have until midnight tonight. Click. I think it would be funny if my parents were like, put Zach on the phone right now. And the kidnapper's like, all right, here he is. I'm just like, hey, guys.
Hey.
What's up? How's it going? They're like, aren't you kidnapped? And I'm just like, yeah, no, I am. I just like at this moment, you know, I'm
feeling pretty calm.
They gave me a couple drinks. Like I'm not tied up. I'm just kind of in this mansion.
It's comfortable.
Wandering around. I have a bathrobe on.
Decent hospitality.
Yeah. It's
doing all right.
Yeah. Like I'm in an Airbnb. That would be at least $500 a night if it was listed. So yeah, I'm just feeling pretty calm right now. And they're like, okay, do you want to leave? And I'm just like, not yet.
Can you pick me up tomorrow?
Don't pay them right away, but just like maybe do installments like once a month. Maybe I'll just like chill here.
Yeah. Eventually, maybe you annoy them so much. So there's like, get this fucking guy out of here. Yeah. We don't even want him. I don't even want to kill him anymore.
So I think, and this legitimately because this is not a story. This is like an actual thought that ran through my head when I was reading the cartel article when those 4 kids got beheaded. I was trying to think what my saving grace would be. What would be my asset to the cartel for them to not take my life? Because they're business people. If you can provide them with a service or a benefit, and it's worth more than your life, they might want to go. So I thought like I would start a podcast for the cartel.
Okay.
Because there's all these mafia guys that they're coming out now where they're like, I worked with, fucking Tony Giamatti back in the 1980s. I was a hitman. They're saying it on a podcast in 2023. They haven't done a hit in 2 decades. This will be the first ever podcast being released from active cartel members where I would host it and I would just be like trying to figure out, I'm like, tell me what you guys want. What do you do? Like, what do you want to say to the U.S. government? Like, we're at war with them.
Their names are their voices are super distorted.
Yeah, 100%. And I just be like, this is a place for your demands. Just like, let me know. Let's have a conversation. And the U.S. government will hear this. The president of the United States will listen to this podcast. So just think of me as your mouthpiece.
I think that would work for you for a while. I feel like you'd be super rich and living a good life for a while, but I've seen a lot of movies and I feel like that guy always dies eventually.
Yeah, but I would die. I would die for sure. Like once they
You're
figured
disposable at a certain point.
Once they figured out how to set up a camera and a microphone, I'd be dead. But I'd think for at least like 2 to 3 months, I would have
Yeah.
And the Taliban is on Twitter. So
are they?
Yeah, the Taliban is legitimate. They recruit United States college students on Twitter and Facebook. So it's like, why can't the cartel be on Twitter, on Reels? They're just talking about hits and because they do good things in the community. Pablo Escobar killed a bunch of people, but he also built some schools, in between blowing up commercial airliners. So
that's true.
It's not all bad.
Very true. It's a good point.
Yeah.
That's how his mother feels.
I want to humanize the cartel.
And that's what we do as producers, directors. We have a message and we will get that message across.
Yeah.
So I think it's capable. I wish you luck on this journey with the cartel in Panama.
And I appreciate that. And hopefully, if I do get captured, we'll at least get to co-host a few Breaking Takes episodes with the cartel.
I would love that.
We're going through stories with them. And then when I do inevitably get beheaded, you can react to it. And that'll bring Breaking Takes full circle.
Would love that. You know I love watching really terrible things.
And I'll say a message, like right before I get beheaded, I'll say, welcome to Breaking Takes. And then you could just like start the reaction
I want
from
it to be really a good beheading, though. I'm tired of these messy beheadings. Like, listen, no offense, Cartel, but you could make it a little more grand. Like, I don't want it to be all jagged. I want it to be like Game of Thrones. Like, I want you to whip out the longest sword and just like clean. I want your head to be clean off your shoulders.
Clean is a necessity, for sure. I didn't know that back in the day, they wouldn't polish the blades or they wouldn't sharpen them as often.
Hacking at
it. Yeah, literally like 3 to 4 times. Like, it would go like halfway through your neck. And you're just like standing, you're still alive, and you're like, what is happening? And then they go like hack, and then finally.
It's like, I could have just killed my fucking self at this rate. Yeah. Jesus.
Exactly.
You suck. You suck at killing people.
Give me the string. I'll pull it down on myself. I'll like chop. You're like trying to kill yourself, like banging it down onto your neck. I want a clean break. I want a samurai, so just like a dude who like does 2 backflips right before, and he like uses the momentum to come in and like, so I want it so clean that I'm like a chicken. Like, I have thoughts after my head separates from my body. Like, I look up at my own body and I'm
what
just
happened?
Like, what the fuck? And I'm like still
Wait a
talking.
Second.
And then it goes viral because it's like I'm the first human head to talk to their own body ever.
Yes.
Only chickens have done that.
Yeah. So we put you up to that, Cartel.
Yeah.
We want it to be the best we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But all right, I wish you luck on that.
I think I have a good content planned for that. It'll all come to fruition.
Good, great.
But speaking of the Taliban and just like disastrous things in general, there is, I don't know if you're aware of this. There's a 9/11 security fee for all plane tickets in the United States.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No.
And this is
just on that date?
Yeah. So this is I'll explain what it is.
Or no, is it?
It's for like going forward.
Gotcha.
And so this is a combination of a story and just something that I realized when I was looking at my flight to Panama. So the airfare for my flight was $294, transportation tax $21, Panama airport security fee $1.25. In the tax line, there's a September 11th security fee for $5.60, and that is added into the charge of the ticket. Mm-hmm. And basically, it's like this, after September 11th, they upgraded all the facilities, like all the TSA scanners, like they put in all the body scanners, so we didn't just have metal detectors.
Those body scanners don't even work half the time.
You're gonna find out how much. I go to the
airport, and then it's like, when I went to Jamaica, I'm standing in line. This poor guy, he keeps going in. They're like, oh, step back out.
Yeah.
Go back in. Step back out. Go back in. And this went on for uncomfortably long before they were like, you know what? Let's just move everybody to the old school one.
So you're gonna find out how much it doesn't work, and it's way more than half.
Okay.
And keep in mind, this is for every ticket anyone buys in the United States, leaving, coming to, domestic flights, $5.60 each way. So round trip ticket is $11.20. Mm-hmm. And millions of people buy this every month, and it's billions of dollars a year. And they supposedly put this into TSA security, all the machines, and like upping the like any security measures that would be necessary for that. So after the implementation of the tax, there was a study done, and this is back in 2015, but this is still 14 years after they started doing the 9/11 tax, because they started it the year after. The acting head of the Transportation Security Administration was reassigned Monday after an internal investigation by the Department of Homeland Security found security failures at dozens of the nation's busiest airports. The breaches allowed undercover investigators to smuggle weapons, fake explosives, and other contraband through numerous checkpoints. In one case, an alarm sounded, But even during a pat-down, the screening officer failed to detect a fake plastic explosive taped to an undercover agent's back. In all, the so-called quote-unquote red teams of Homeland Security, posing as passengers, were able to get weapons past TSA agents in 67 out of 70 tests. A 95% failure rate.
I feel so good that we're both about to be on flights.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw this thing on my ticket, and I just searched 9/11 security fee. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that comes up was all of these stories back in 2015.
Great.
Where the Homeland Security, like these undercover guys that just, you buy a ticket, TSA has no idea, kind of almost like a restaurant critic where you have no idea the person.
Yeah.
And
a secret shopper, a secret flyer.
95%.
That is so bad.
Yeah.
And did they, I don't know if you know the answer to this, did they source like multiple airports? Did you already say that? Or so I don't remember.
I believe in the study, this was just one of them, but they would do multiple airports around the U.S.
It's like the Subway tuna fish scandal.
What was the Subway tuna fish scandal?
We talked about this on I think a different episode where there was no actual tuna in the...
Yes.
And they went around and like went to a million different Subways and there was zero tuna. Now we're going around to airports and everyone fucking sucks at their job.
Yeah. This is like, I'm thinking if I was a terrorist and I see that, because this is like public news. I think they just stopped doing this because the last ones were in 2015.
Oh, no.
And I think they just released the results of the test, like, and now they just keep it private. And they're like, this is fucking horrible. If I was a terrorist, I would fuck with TSA as I went through because the failure rate is so bad. Like I would be like, wow, you guys are the bomb. And just keep up the good work.
Great work.
And the TSA agent's like, you're welcome, sir. Like, have a great day. And you're just like, you have no idea how my day is gonna end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, that terrorist is sending a lot of people to heaven, and TSA thinks, you know, they're good enough to get into heaven because, you know, they think they're good at their job. And meanwhile, the whole thing is just one big body scanner scam.
God forbid you have a water bottle on you. I mean, you try to go through TSA with a water bottle and they're like,
Yeah.
Turn around.
Yeah.
It's like it's a fucking water bottle.
And they don't just say turn around, they yell at you in front of everyone else. They're like,
they dehumanize you.
Yeah. They're like, hey, is there water in that? Is it right there?
Back of the line.
Who has the
back of the line?
Who has the red backpack, this red nerdy backpack? And I'm like, you don't have to say it's like a nerdy, but just say it's the red backpack. And they just like,
they will do that. They just start insulting you.
Yeah. Like, where do they get people that work for TSA? Like, do they come disgruntled, or do they just become once they get the job?
I feel like they come disgruntled. Like, they have to, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's like, what are you, an military person, or did you fail like at police academy and now you're here, yelling at me to get to the back of the line?
I think it's just it's so good that for the job that needs you to be just completely open to all possibilities and have a high tolerance for like things that go wrong and needing to like pick up on body language and things that could possibly be snuck through the detector. It's really great that the people who are responsible for that are just like the most like, keep it moving, like where is that a bottle? Throw it out, keep it moving. Come on, sir, go through. And the guy's got like 3 fake explosives strapped to him for the fucking like Homeland Security test, and he's all right. And the scanner hasn't even gone off, and they're just like, it's fine, keep it going. Do like a quick pat down. He's got like 4 pistols in his pocket, and they're just like, is that your wallet? He's like, I guess. And then they're like, all right, get the fuck out of here.
And we're still taking our shoes off. Like, what's the point in that when we're like going through our little full body scanner? It can see straight through my clothes. Like, it sees my naked body.
Yeah.
But it can't see my toes?
Yeah, I don't really know why. And also, if you pay $70 a year for pre-check, you don't have to take your shoes off.
And suddenly, though, they're like, you couldn't possibly have a weapon in those shoes,
like
in those $70 pre-check shoes.
Yeah, like terrorists don't know what pre-check is for TSA, or like the what's that thing called where it just scans you in? It's not pre-check, but it's like I forget what it's called, but you can basically like scan your fingerprint or something, and it just lets you through.
Wow.
And it's like how important is this stuff if you could just pay $70 a year?
Clearly it's not important.
Take off your
Clearly
shoes.
They don't even actually do a good job. They're all just like failed. They all got fired from like working at the prison or something. And now they're just like pointing and yelling at people. One time I was at the airport, and it was me and my girlfriend, and we were heading to Hawaii like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago or something, before it burnt down the entire state.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, I care about Hawaii. So don't go to Hawaii right now, people, or at least don't go to Maui. But anyways, like my partner went first, ladies first. So she goes, like we have all of her stuff up on the belt, the shoes, everything. She goes through. And I swear to God, I think the TSA person thought I was like a little boy. Because you know how some people, like, they want to make, like, because it was just me and then a bunch of, like, femme girls behind me that had no relation to me. He kept making me, like, put their stuff up on the belt and, like, move their stuff down the belt. Yeah. Every time I tried to, like, turn and go to meet my partner, who is now boarding the plane without me because I'm stuck here working for the TSA, he's like, no, push that up. I'm like, dude, this isn't even my stuff. It went on for so long that one of the girls that was behind me was like, do you want to go through the thing? Yeah. And I was like, I would love to, but apparently I just got a new job today.
Yeah. Like, what other job besides TSA could you just tell people to do your job for you?
Exactly.
And it's just like, and accept it. Like, imagine if you were at Subway and you said, I'll take whole wheat bread. And then you go, okay, I'll also take turkey and American cheese. And the guy's just looking at you and he's like,
take it.
Yeah, put it forward. Like, move your bread forward. Like, is this you? Is this you, ma'am? Is this your bread right here? Please, you can't walk away until it goes forward to the next station.
Oh, it's not your bread? Move it forward anyways.
Yeah. Is there a bomb in your bread? That's fine. We'll let it through.
That's okay. Yeah, if I had a knife
is there
on
water
me,
in it?
I probably would have already been sitting on the plane.
Yeah.
I would have made it through with the swiftness.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's like, I feel like, I would be interested to see the TSA hiring process just for the type of people that they're like, this person will sniff out a Glock stuffed in a carry-on. This is the person, and then they hire them, and it's like, did they hire this? Like, are they so bad at their job coming into it, or is TSA just like, is there something about it we're not seeing that just like within months you're just like, you become this person who has zero tolerance for just like a 2-second delay in any sort of the line?
I don't know. It's scary in there. I'm scared already.
I feel nervous when I'm in line for security. Not because I'm going to get caught with anything, but because I like accidentally.
Are we going to miss our flight because I need to stand here and load people's baggage on the conveyor belt?
Yeah. Like that is where TSA is at today, that a terrorist with a bomb in his bag has the same level of anxiety as someone who can't remember if they took their water bottle out of their carry-on, and the guy with the water bottle gets stopped and the terrorist is like, whoo.
Yeah, God forbid you have like a large toothpaste in your bag.
Yeah. How many, it's had to have happened like with let's say 9/11, for example, like where those guys go through the security and someone in front of them had to have gotten stopped for toothpaste or like above the 3.4 ounce limit for cologne or water. And like they make a huge deal out of it, and all the alarms go off and they pat down this person. They like go through their anal cavity and they're just like searching for other dangerous things to take on a plane, like more bottles of water that can apparently bring the plane. And the group of terrorists is just like they just walk by and they're like, I honestly didn't think it was going to be.
What a pleasant distraction that was.
Like, this is too easy. Like, this is like, we should work for TSA as terrorists to like consult with them and be like, these are the things that we've been sneaking through your plane, your security system the entire time. Like, can you please step it up to make the next attack an actual challenge? Because this just doesn't get us hard
they've
anymore.
been playing on like level 2 of this game for so long. I am a little bit. I mean, how are you with planes? Do you like flying? Do you always feel like you're probably gonna die?
I'm a little bit in the extremes where I'm usually very anxious or very calm. I've had flights where I thought I was literally going to die. And I'm sitting there with my heart pounding and I'm contemplating whether to tell the stewardess that I'm having a heart attack and that we need to land the plane. And then I have other times where I'm fine and there's not really a rhyme or reason to it. I've never really taken Xanax or I don't really drink heavily on planes. It's just kind of luck of the draw sometimes.
Yeah. I guess I'm always just, it's so stupid how we are obsessed with like plane crashes. Even though it's like, it doesn't really happen that often. But every time I'm always like, once we're up in the air, I'm good. Because I think statistically, like most of the crashes happen within takeoff. So I'm like, once we're up, I'm good. And once you get a vibe on the flight, you got to check the vibe on the flight. I'll tell you, when I was flying from Miami to Jamaica, because I had a layover in Miami, like the whole plane was, except for me, was like full of black people. And it was the best plane ride I have ever been on because they don't play with that shit. They are quiet. They are not playing with any sort of weird shit. Like, this plane is going to land and it is going to be okay.
So you're saying the vibe was quiet?
Like, the vibe was so safe. It was like, I know that nobody on here is like crazy. Everyone is just like singing hallelujah in their head. And they are just minding their business. And someone was eating like hot wings up front. And I was they got the TGIF hot wings. And I wanted them so bad.
You know, if someone rushed the cockpit, some black lady would stand up and be like, not today. And
seriously.
Fucking just punch some Saudi Arabian
I really felt that
dude.
way, though. That they were like, we're not, if anything happened, they were just like, no, not today. Like, this flight has 50 more minutes. Sit down.
And the terrorists would be like, I've never encountered such a powerful being before. They did not train us on independent black women in the Taliban. There was not a lesson on how to deal with it. Like, just some lady doesn't even hit him. She's just like,
That's right.
Sit 23C, sit down, right? Don't make me cut. And he's just like, I
guess. All right.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't have any response to that.
And he's like on the phone with the head of the tower. Like, and this woman stood up and I've never been this scared in my life. And he's like, you've literally walked over landmines and had people shooting at you. And he's like, sir, I'm scared for my life right now on this plane. I
felt like a small boy again.
Yes.
But yeah, no. So I felt really safe on that flight. So I'm hoping you're heading off to Panama. I'm heading off to London first, but a variety of places in Europe. So Godspeed to us.
Yes.
May we return.
I thought that the name for the airport security fee was weird, like the 9/11 security fee, because 9/11 was the thing that beat airport security. So they're like naming it after the thing that beat them, which is like calling an organization that supports battered women the O.J. Simpson Foundation. It's like, this is like, he's the GOAT of going against battered women, just like 9/11 was the GOAT of going against the airport security. So like it just struck me like it could have been like the security fucking tightening fee, the fucking
we could have just left out the 9/11.
Yeah.
It could have just been an extra security fee.
Yeah. It could have just been, they could have just lied to me and told me it was just like another type of tax that didn't, because there's like 7 listed on the ticket. So I feel like it was just like a name picked by a senator to like corral the spirits of people to not go against the tax. But in reality, it goes like it I don't know. It just struck me as like a very
I don't know.
I don't know. And
we're
that's
almost in 9/11 season.
Yeah.
New York is getting seasoned right now.
Yes. We're about to approach. We're going to have the decorations.
And we're about to see so many documentaries on TV. You're about to wake up every morning and it's like just the Twin Towers falling.
Yeah.
and we just get reminded of it every year. You go on TikTok, it's like all these traumatic videos. And it's like, all right, I've seen the monument.
Yeah,
I know, never forget.
Never forget. TSA forgot. Like
clearly.
There were no changes. Like literally they added the body scanner, but
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work 95% of the time. Like if any other industry had a 95% failure rate, you would change things up immediately. Like if I worked for a suicide hotline and after 3 months of working there,
95%.
my manager calls me and is like, anyone you talk to, like 95 out of the 100 calls you've taken the past few months have not been a success. We're gonna fire you. Like you're like people are calling the hotline by accident and you're still making them kill themselves like by what you're saying. So we're gonna let you go, but like TSA, they're just like, I don't know, just fucking keep telling them to put their hands like this in the triangle position and have the thing
they get a little grab, a little smack,
a little and the terrorists are just like, I think the reason why it's been so long since a major terrorist attack is just because they're bored. They're like, we thought they would make it super strict, like almost like Mission Impossible, where you have to go through the lasers and like if you touch a laser that sets off the alarm and like you're basically going to have to worm your way through airport security to even smuggle a knife in. And terrorists are like, this isn't fun.
Yeah, like we've been training.
Yeah.
We've watched all of Tom Cruise's films.
Yeah.
We've been training for that.
Mission Impossible 1 through 7. Taliban boarding school.
That's true.
it's the entrance exam. You have to be able to quote anything from Tom Cruise 1 through 7. And you know, it's just not up to the level to test them out. They're not even having to use their skills.
Yeah.
They just have to stand behind someone with a water bottle in line and they'll call over 9 other TSA agents to handle it. And then they're just like, I guess this is the way things are.
Breeze on by.
Yeah. No purpose.
Wow.
You have to you can't let terrorists go through life without purpose.
They need a passion.
You need to respect the thing that they want to do, and you have to be able to provide them the correct challenges.
Yeah. Except not when I'm there.
Oh, yeah. Challenge the shit. I hope TSA challenges them when the next time we're in the airport, but
well, you'll see me working the conveyor belt, so I'll see you there at JFK.
Hell yeah. I can't wait. Hey guys, this is a quick break in the episode to tell you about Breaking Takes Premium, where we will be dropping monthly bonus episodes and allowing you to become part of the show.
For $5 a month, you will get access to bonus episodes, that's audio and video, be able to suggest topics and stories for us to give our takes, AMAs, minisodes, and more.
Head to breakingtakes.supercast.com to sign up for Breaking Takes Premium today. That's breakingtakes.supercast.com for full bonus access.
And if you aren't able to sign up for premium, that's okay, because if you still want to support the show, you can rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Seriously, the more ratings are such a big help when it comes to new listeners discovering the show, because it tells the algorithm to push us higher in the search results. So the more reviews and ratings, the better.
We'll also read the comments that you leave on Apple Podcasts and give you a shout out at the end of each show. So get creative. Leave us some badass comments. Now, back to the episode.
But on to, I guess, a different, I mean, where is the Taliban from? I'm not great at like this sort of stuff.
New Jersey. No, they're from, I think they're from Afghanistan, Iraq. It's kind of like the Middle East. I think they go around too, trying to hide from authorities, and they kind of chill up in the mountains.
Afghanistan.
Yeah,
all right.
Afghanistan,
you're right. Well, speaking of another, I guess not as bad enemy, but kind of, China. How do we feel about China? I love Chinese food. I love everything that comes out of China, but America and China are beefing.
I feel like China, I mean, my personal feelings on China is that they're like an ex-boyfriend that a girl broke up with when he was 17, she was 17, and then 10 years later, she's checking Instagram and China is just running the fucking world. And she's like, how did this?
Yeah.
I thought he was a scrub
loser.
when we brought, and I feel like that was the way we treated China for a lot of history. Mm-hmm. And now we're like afraid.
Yeah, and they're partnering with like Russia. They're not great. Well, the government, obviously, we can't talk about the people, but I am going to talk about the people.
Yeah.
So this headline's from CNN.
Food.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Delicious.
Don't get me started. So CNN.com, China wants to limit minors to no more than 2 hours a day on their phones. China is proposing new measures to curb the amount of time that kids and teens can spend on their phones, as the country takes aim at internet addiction and tries to cultivate good morality and socialist values amongst minors. This proposal was released by Cyberspace Administration of China, the country's top internet regulator. So let's see here. Oh, so they're proposing that apps and mobile devices have minor mode built in.
That sounds like an app developed by Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, it does.
Let me scroll minor mode on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so that might be an add-on that you can buy for minor mode.
Yeah.
But the main purpose that they're advertising, is that it would restrict daily screen time to a maximum of 2 hours a day, depending on the age group. And I think it so no one under 18 would be able to access their screens between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. I mean, you're pretty much asleep during that time, but, don't tell me what the fuck to do. Yeah. That's how I feel.
So this is not just a suggestion like with Instagram where it goes, you've reached your screen limit for today. Would you like to continue? Or like it's going to be as hard. You can't use your phone between certain hours if you're in China.
Well, it does say that parents would be able to override the time restrictions, and certain educational and emergency services would obviously not be subjected to these restrictions.
Yeah.
As of now, this is just proposed, but it's kind of fucked up. Like I was thinking about it. I'm like, aren't these Chinese kids probably making these phones?
Yeah.
And now you're going to tell them when they can and cannot use it?
Yeah.
Because I know there are not good working rights laws there. There's definitely child labor going on there.
I mean, if you're 11 years old and you're working from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. in a factory, and you finally get home and you go to unwind on TikTok, or you're playing like Subway Surfer, and the restriction comes on like, bzz, like you're past 10 p.m., no access to the phone. I don't think you can take that away from child workers.
No.
Like the working is fine, but give them access to the phone.
Yes. We can't have them go crazy. You know, everybody needs a little TikTok time, a little scroll time.
Keep them in line, keep them working, but then give them that release at the end of the day. Don't restrict.
You need it.
Yeah.
I feel so frustrated when I like go to sit on the couch in the evening when I'm done and my phone's like dead or something.
Yeah.
And I can't scroll it. And then I just have to sit like this and watch TV.
Yeah.
And like an 80-year-old.
And imagine before that you put together 462 of them
yes.
on the factory line and you're like, bitch, I just made these. How I'm a god. I'm an 11-year-old god to these iPhones. I'm putting them together. I'm doing it for 4 cents a day. They're getting sold for
yes.
$4 million in the U.S. Give me my screen time.
Yeah. I think that children deserve screen time. At the same, I get the point, but 2 hours is really not a long time. In a 24-hour day?
No.
That's barely any time.
Yeah. If I'm...
One YouTube, video could be an hour long.
Yeah. And my mom is making me breakfast before I go to the factory. That's 15 minutes, 30 minutes right there. I'm watching something on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not potty trained yet if I'm working in the factory in China. So it takes me longer to go to the bathroom while I'm on my phone just taking a shit.
Yes.
So yeah, I think these children's rights are being violated with the fact that they can't look at their phones as much as they want to. No other reason, but the phone thing really ticks me off.
Yes, same. When did you get a cell phone? When was your first cell phone?
My first ever cell phone, I want to say, was 6th grade. I had an LG flip phone.
Hell yeah. I had a Nokia back in 3rd grade.
Oh, shit. So you were early.
Well, my parents, they're divorced. So I got one so I could be able to keep in contact with, the other parent when I was with one parent. I remember playing the fuck out of that snake game on the Nokia. That game was my life.
Yeah.
Then I graduated to an LG chocolate. I was super cool in middle school with that. I
kind of remember that.
You slide it up.
Yeah, it was almost like the sidekick.
And the keyboard is so fucking small.
Yeah.
It's the stupidest phone in the world.
Do you remember asking your parents for internet access when you would click on the little web thing and it would go...
I never asked.
Do you want to... Because
I knew the answer already was no.
my parents basically lied to me and were like, if you use this app, it's X number of dollars per minute
It
or
kind
whatever.
of is, though.
But it wasn't as much as they told me. They told me it was
going to be $2,000.
Yeah.
It was it was literally $50 if you spent a few hours on it.
Maybe they didn't lie. Maybe they were just eating the $200 a month that I would use on the phone and were just I was also a dumb kid. So I'm $1 a minute, that's a lot of money because I had $13. So I'm there's no way I could spend all my money in 13 minutes. But yeah, I just remember.
No, it did call. I remember I did it once too. And my dad was so mad at me. And I think it was about $200.
Yeah.
But I had probably been using it periodically from one billing period to another. And it costs $200 added bucks.
Yeah, that's not bad then.
Yeah, I don't think so. But it's kind of funny that that was the original. You went to this little tiny screen. It was a little miniature computer.
Yeah.
And it cost $1 million and it was slow as hell.
Yeah.
To use. And I was loving every minute of it.
Yeah. And the kids in China probably miss the days where they only had to put together those small screen flip phones without all the complicated chips in it. And you just had that little simple keyboard, little simple screen, and then you just flipped it together and boom, down the conveyor belt line. It must have been really hard for these teeny tiny children once the smartphones came around, because if there's anything I'm against, it's toddlers putting together smartphones. I think if anything, you got to keep the toddlers putting together the flip phones. That's where we need to go back to. It's better for us with screen time. It's better for them. They get to work their dexterity from a young age. No one gets hurt.
We will go back to that eventually.
Yeah.
I feel everything goes back.
Yeah.
So they're also just saying like internet addiction is running rampant, which, I would say it probably is. But we also need the internet for like everything now. So am I addicted or am I just trying to exist?
Yeah, exactly.
I need the internet to do literally anything.
I was going to say, like, if you're a 17-year-old, and I know they don't have this rule anymore, but if you're a 17-year-old girl in China and you're on your third kid and it's the second girl, and the government sends you a letter and goes, you got to behead this one because it's a girl, and then you're just like, all right, I guess this is normal because the government's telling me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do it and you just want to escape for 5 minutes on your phone after that. Just like watch a video. And you can't even do that now.
No.
So it's like they're banning, I think they're banning the phones, not because they think it's bad for screen time, but because they're going to become aware of the life that other people around the world live and get like too familiar with it.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely what it is.
Where they're like, why? Like, look at these people sitting down on toilets. Like, we squat and projectile through holes in the floor.
Wow, that's a skill.
Yeah.
I could use working on that skill a little bit, sharpening that up.
There's actually in the Japan airport, it's in multiple places around Japan, but they have a lot of Chinese tourists. And there's signs on some of the bathrooms that say this toilet is not meant for squatting. This is meant for sitting. And I looked it up one time because I saw this kind of like the same warning in bathrooms. And I translated it on my phone. I'm like, oh shit, like Chinese people come to Japan and they fucking like sit. They like put their feet on the rim of the toilet and squat down.
I think that's an Indian thing as well. Like
it could be.
Southern India where it's more impoverished.
Yeah, where
they
everything
do a lot
is
of
toilet.
Squatting. Yes,
There's no discrimination against toilets there. It's just
there's a lot of shitting in the streets.
If it makes a sound, if it's on the ground, it's a toilet.
Yeah, that's true. And I actually just found so it says this is to curb internet addiction, and they already have kind of boot camp style centers to curb internet addiction. And so I clicked on this other article, and the headline is Children in China Locked Up for as long as 10 days at Internet Addiction Camp. What are they doing? Like, what are they doing?
For 10 days? I assume it's kind of just like maybe a silent, not a silent meditation, but almost just like, we're going to break you mentally.
It says, so the people that ran this particular camp, and I'm sure there's plenty more, it says they were sentenced to prison after being found guilty of locking children in solitary isolation for up to 10 days. So that's better than playing on TikTok?
Look.
That is fucking insane.
Look, if you are going to train children to make these phones and stare at iPhone parts for 12 hours per day, you have to train them psychologically to be able to sit in silence for that period of time so they stay focused. So from China's perspective, I'm not saying I agree with it.
Love the way this is going.
But it does make sense if you're trying to build these like miniature cyborgs that make things. Because like, again, China is getting ready for the future. They're always thinking 100 years ahead. So they already sell everything to the U.S. They manufacture, they make all the parts. And so also AI is coming where it's like they're going to be able to put robots into factories and just give them the ability to make phones instead of hiring elementary school students. They're like, well, instead of spending all these money on robots, what if we just turn kids into robots? And so that way the AI revolution happens instantly instead of us having to come up with the technology. We'll just make our own population.
It's a thought.
Robots.
You want to know what I'm doing if I'm sitting in solitary confinement for 10 days? I'm dreaming about beheading them like the cartel.
Yes.
I'm dreaming about the moment they unlock this door. I'm going so rabid. on these people. I'm going to bite their fucking ankles and rip their heads off.
100%. Like the Chinese cartel once they let you out. Yeah.
Yes.
And you're just you're planning it in your head. You're thinking exactly how it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then they open the door and there's just this little 9-year-old Lee Yuan.
I'm thinking about, have you ever seen the movie The Grudge?
Yes, a very long time ago.
That little like blue dead Asian boy is what I'm imagining.
Yes, 100%.
And he's just going to be coming at you so fast.
So I think we should send our TSA agents to China to become trained.
Perhaps.
Because they're not locked in, obviously. 95% failure rate. They're not finding the bombs. They're not finding the guns.
They're too locked in or they're not locked in enough.
Yeah, they're locked in.
Either way, it's not good.
They're locked in. I've noticed that a lot of TSA agents yell at each other from across the airport. It's actually like, it happens a lot.
No.
I flew back from Charlotte this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 separate times on the way back to JFK, there was like a TSA agent at one gate yelling across the fucking airport.
They don't have walkie-talkies?
Yeah.
With that extra 9/11 fee, they can't afford a walkie-talkie?
And there's people going through security as they turn, and they're like, hey, Teresa. And I'm just like, people are just going, and he's just like absentmindedly just waving people through. Almost like a bouncer at a bar where he's like having a conversation, kind of like half-assed looks at the ID.
And then they open it. They open the, what is that? What are they called? The ropes.
Oh,
the queue. And then like 20 people funnel in.
By the way, can we stop letting old and disabled people not go through security, or like they go through like that bullshit ass like little screening instead of the body scanner? Because they're prime suspects number 1 for bringing on a bomb.
That's right.
They're
sitting on it probably.
If I'm the Taliban, I'm paying off an old lady in a wheelchair.
I'm putting that in Mima's wig for sure.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey, here's 10 grand. Take this box, seat it under you, because as soon as you get to the front of the line, they're just going to wave you to the side and go, oh, ma'am, I'm so sorry we made you wait for that long. We're going to, we're going to get you right there. And like a child, person in a wheelchair, someone with a cane, all you have to do to get through airport security is walk with a limp, and they'll just put you to the side and be like, no, you obviously have good morals, you're limping. Yeah,
I love that they show respect like that.
Yeah.
They're like, they're I guess they're morals. I love how unique they are. They're like, we really care about old people.
What is it about old people and disabled people where we just instantly make the connection like, oh, they must be good? Because I'm kind of a good person, but I'm also not a good person. Mm-hmm. And if I got paralyzed tomorrow, people would automatically assume like, oh, honey, like go right like you deserve go right through the front of the line.
I'd be like, nah, this guy's a dick.
I'd be like, if you knew the things running through my head right now, I just took 10 grand from the Taliban to smuggle through this AK-47. Why do we assume it's like a weird connection between disability and morality?
Yeah.
And I feel like we just kind of like whitewash, like we don't treat disabled people as nuanced, complex human beings. We're like, oh, you're just a saint, and we don't treat them as people because of that.
I think there's been stories like that where people that are disabled, like they get so fucking annoyed with being treated differently. And they're like, yeah, I'm not a fucking good person.
Yeah.
Like, why are these people basically like wiping my ass for me when I want to murder them?
If you have any sort of disability and you're listening to this podcast right now, send us a story where you've been a bad boy or a bad girl. Tell us when you've acted up and you've stepped outside the bounds of morality, because we need to start showcasing that disabled people. Being bad is part of personhood.
You can be an asshole in a wheelchair.
It's part of humanity.
That's right.
Disabled people are humans too. Send us your stories. Tell us when you've deviated. DM us. Give give us the dirty deets, and we'll do our part to humanize you.
Yes, and we won't report any crimes to the police.
No, and it'll be anonymous too. So don't send us your real name.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know. I don't know where to go from this.
So let me try to give an awkward transition.
Okay, great.
So
I'm ready.
Speaking of children,
all right,
the Catholic Church.
Hey, that's good. That's a good transition.
Let me take a sip of whiskey before I do this, because this one
to the Lord.
Yeah. God knows I'm going to need some help to get through this one.
I thought that was a great transition. When I think of Catholicism, I too think of sexual predators and children.
And I went to Catholic school. I went to Catholic high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was a Catholic for many, many years. Mm-hmm. And so this one hits home a little bit. I mean, I haven't been to church in years, but I still in the back of my mind, I hold a little Catholic guilt hope for the future of the church. Like, it's always nice to see them doing good things, but then things like this happen, and I'm just like, never
I didn't
again.
grow up religious at all. I went to like Sunday school because I think my dad just wanted a reason to like get rid of me for like a day. So yeah, I went to Sunday school and stuff. I've been in churches, obviously, but I did not grow up religious at all.
Your dad was like, it's either Sunday school or we're moving to China, and you see what those kids do.
And I was like, give me some
which one do you want to do?
Graham crackers and throw on that animated VeggieTales show.
You're like, give me 10 Bibles. Anything besides making phones.
Yes.
So the San Francisco Arch Diocese files for bankruptcy as it faces more than 500 sexual abuse lawsuits. The Archdiocese of San Francisco has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy as it faces more than 500 lawsuits alleging child sexual abuse. Quote, the unfortunate reality is that the Archdiocese has neither the financial means nor the practical ability to litigate all of these abuse claims individually, and therefore, after much consideration, concluded that the bankruptcy process was the best solution for providing fair and equitable compensation to the innocent survivors who have been harmed, Archbishop Salvador Cordileone said in a Monday news release. Now, hang with me.
Okay.
Imagine raping so many children that you have to declare bankruptcy. Like, the fact that you're like if you watch all the movies on the church, or like you read all the articles, like they're so worried about defending themselves and like putting out the right narrative and like doing all the PR. But like, to have abused so many children, where your first move is like, let's get our books in order because this is going to be a long battle. Yeah. Like, let's just get this out of the way first. We're guilty, but like, we don't want to pay you.
Yeah.
Like, it is. I don't think this has ever happened before. I was trying to look up if a church, like a diocese, has declared bankruptcy because of an abuse scandal.
Yeah.
And like, this is the first one where they're basically like, yeah, we've done it, but like, if you sue us, you're not going to get anything. Like, you're not going to get shit, because you can't. If you declare bankruptcy, according to the law, you can only pay out so many people, and you're only liable for so much of an amount. So it's basically like this loophole meant for businesses, but like in this case, the church is allowed to use it, which I don't get because they don't pay taxes.
Yes, I'm so tired of that, of like them not paying. It's just like they're taking up so much fucking space. These churches are massive. Here in New York, there is a massive church every block, and not even half of them are like active anymore. But you're like not allowed to tear them down or do anything about it. So they're just there rotting with like rats in there. So I am tired of this. And I also can't believe the amount, because this is San Francisco. I know like years ago there was the whole Boston.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm like, and that was like almost like 200 kids or something.
But the church fought, like the church went after the journalists in Boston, the Boston Diocese. I forget which one specifically it was.
I watched that movie. Watched the movie Spotlight.
Yeah.
That's based on that
Mark
story.
Ruffalo's a savage.
Yes.
They went after the journalists. They tried to blackmail them. The church was like, we'll use everything at our disposal to cover this up. But in this case, they're just like,
you got us.
Yeah. we're finally like, like it's almost like one of those like, we're going out of business signs. 99% off, but like on the Catholic Church. I don't get how they're able to do it, because if you don't pay taxes, you shouldn't be allowed to use business law.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
Because it's like a benefit of owning an LLC, owning a business, that you can declare bankruptcy. But if you're not that type of business, I don't get how you're allowed to do that as the church. But I mean, what do I know? I barely passed accounting in college.
Morally bankrupt. In theory, they want to be financially bankrupt as well.
Yeah.
Which we know the church will never be financially bankrupt.
They have so much goddamn money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know. Like, do the popes and the fucking cardinals laugh about it in the Vatican when they read a verse in the Bible that has to do with tending to the poor and like being okay with not having a lot of money, and like wealth is not something that you should strive for in your life, and they're doing it in like Versace robes, custom made for the Vatican.
It's fire. I'm not gonna lie. Like the Pope and the Cardinal, I don't know any of the other lingo, but their fits fire.
Yeah,
love it.
I would respect the church. I would go back to church if the Pope came out and made a statement and said, I know what the Bible says, but also I'm slaying in these robes. This robe costs more than your house.
Catholic couture, baby.
If there was a shoot with like Lady Gaga and the Pope and Versace, and just like on the cover of a magazine, and they're both kind of like posing in Versace robes and like Vatican regalia, I would respect the church so much more if they just came out and were like, we fucking love money. Yeah. This is what we're about. We haven't been paying taxes. This is what we've been spending it on. Like, we ball the fuck out. Like, if there was a priest reality show about them clubbing behind the scenes after hours in the church.
That would be fun.
Yeah. They take, like, there's a scene, the opening of the reality show should be one of the cardinals in a strip club, and he just busts open the top of the donation box and he starts fucking like slinging dollar bills across stripper titties. At least I would be like, you know what?
Put my dollars to use.
This is not what I expected, but at least they're being honest about it.
Yeah, at least they're at the strip club and not in the confessional with a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
So I can get behind that. Let's go to the strip club.
Yeah. Send that boy to China. Let him make phones. It's better than being part of the Catholic Church. It's better to be a slave in a factory line than to be an altar boy in the Catholic Church.
These days, it seems like it. Yeah. Well, all the days, really, I guess. So it seems like this stuff has been coming out since the dawn of time. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's wild. So I was thinking, like, because of the TSA 9/11 security fee, maybe the church should try to implement some sort of child cheek security fee where like you pay to ensure the safety of a child's butt cheeks. But if you model it off the TSA, 95% of priest cock will make it through the security line. So like we need something else. Like we need the TSA and the Catholic Church suffer from the same problem. It's that your walls are being penetrated 95% of the time.
Yes.
You need to realize your wrongs and come together. And, you know, the church is trying to stop balls. The TSA is trying to stop bombs. You need to go to some sort of joint meeting and come together to save the country, because we run on travel and we run on Catholicism.
There's no separation of church and state here.
We're Puritan beings, whether you like it or not. America was founded on religion.
Yes.
And we're also founded on innovation, flight, right, brother? Like, we're not going to stop. We need to come together. No pun intended. The priests need to stop trying to come together in other ways, and TSA and the Catholic Church need to come together to save the good of humanity.
Mm-hmm. See, and this like goes back to what you were just saying, where people just give disabled people and old people like passes. You see this old as fuck white man, 'cause it's like they're always an old white man specifically.
Yeah.
And they're like the Pope or they're the pastor.
Yeah.
And they're like fucking pedos.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you're so nice to them because they're so old.
The black woman who stops the terrorist should automatically become Pope. Like, if you stop an act of terrorism, we've talked about Lizzo on the podcast. We know
our good friend Lizzo.
I go back and forth with this. I think, like, to be fair to Lizzo, if something came out where it was like Tom Cruise forces his crew to eat bananas out of stripper pussy, I'd be like, Tom Cruise, the man, probably overblown. The more I think about it, I'm like, it's probably some disgruntled dancers. I may be proven wrong, but like Lizzo is probably just trying to have some fun, and like maybe she got too into it. But I think in order for her to rekindle her image, to get back on the map, she needs to stop a terrorist attack and become the Pope in the Vatican. I
would love that. The choir, ooh, girl, that fucking choir is about to go off.
Could you imagine?
I'm buying that album.
100%.
I'm praising.
And how many people watch the Pope give a speech every time he walks out? Mm-hmm. She'd have a concert of 100,000 people.
It'd be so good.
In the Vatican Square every time she put on a robe.
I would absolutely love that. That would be a signal to me that we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yes. If there's a God, I hope she's black.
Church would, and
Lizzo.
Church would be more interesting for sure. White church is the most boring shit
It is. I find myself, so I live in Harlem, people, which is predominantly black. And when I step outside on a weekend, I'm immediately feeling so good because all I can hear from every corner is literally there will be a choir of people just on the corner singing church songs. And as somebody that's not religious, I'm like, why the hell would I ever listen to that? Yeah. They got me dancing down the street. They got me dancing to the subway. Yeah. I'm clapping. I'm like, this is some good shit here.
Yeah. And you know what you're not thinking about when you're having fun?
What?
Sex with children.
Yeah.
That's
so
why
weird.
The priests in the white churches, they're looking for things to do. They're bored. Mm-hmm. They're questioning their life purpose. They're not having shit to do. And then they see an altar boy and things happen. There's a lot going on there, but I like you can't see a priest like clapping his hands to God, singing in front of a choir.
Yeah.
People are like two-stepping in the front row. Like you can't go from that to being like, let me abuse a child. Like you're just having too much fun.
Yeah.
You don't need a child because you have embodied the child spirit yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think
you're onto something here.
Yeah.
We need to bring the fun back to church.
Yeah.
Get some better fucking snacks and some better damn songs.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation. And get some more diversity in there.
Get some more diversity. Get some better homilies. Like I feel like the homilies are always so boring. Like,
what is that? What?
It's kind of like the speech they give before the Eucharist, before they give out the bread saucers.
I'm learning words.
Yeah, so it's like they tell a story. The priest tells a story based on, and it's so in the church I went to growing up. it was always just like kind of word for word read from the Bible would just be about
I can read it in my head faster.
Some guy who finds a fish and gave it to his neighbor and then taught his neighbor
how to
fish and was like, because I taught you how to fish,
you'll eat for
you don't
a
need
lifetime.
any fish. Yeah, exactly.
I know that one.
Yeah. But in black churches, they're like casting the devil out live.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
they're
so
like,
much more
literally
exciting.
A priest is like putting his hand on someone's heart and being like, be gone. And he like sucks the devil out of someone
and then
with his
everybody
hand.
in the stands is like, yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Welcome to the new world. Well, and that's like, that's
everybody's clapping,
that's my black
snapping.
Yeah.
No, but it's truly like they got that right. White people are not doing church right.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all are taking it way too seriously, and you've got yourself so messed up in the seriousness that the freaking priest is so bored he might be sleeping with your son. So you need to be careful.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe go to a different church where they clap and have fun
100%.
and expel demons.
Stop clapping cheeks and start clapping hands.
That's right.
That's the way that it should be done.
That was beautiful, Zach.
Yeah. I mean, I think, if I was in a different life, I could put together a pretty good homily, but I wouldn't go. I wouldn't get recruited by the white churches. I'd go. I'd try to be like the one pastor that just like grew up in the black church, kind of like Elvis.
Yeah,
but a pastor.
true. Yeah.
So that's what I would go for.
Okay, there's still time.
Yeah.
Come up to Harlem. You can hang out with me. I'll introduce you to some people.
How often do you guys go to church?
We never go to church. We're not. I've literally.
But they have churches up there
yes,
that are
they're
more
everywhere.
like soul gospel.
Oh, yeah. They'll open the doors. They'll actually, I'm not kidding, they will bring a microphone out, put it on the sidewalk, and just like 12 of them will just start singing.
Yeah.
So there's no escape. They bring church to you in Harlem.
Yeah.
There is no, it's front door delivery of gospel to you.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you have book club on Sunday, can't make it to church? We'll sing outside your house.
Yeah. And now they
escape.
have gotten smart. There's one church that we walk by on our way to Whole Foods. And now they're starting to advertise things to get like young people, like
not too young.
No.
They
it's
keep
like
it good.
they want to get the influencer demographic in. So they'll be like, oh, we're hosting a cooking class, cooking and yoga. Come on through. Like they're trying to announce things that'll like lure just the average influencer or average like 20-something-year-old.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, I want to do for yoga and cannabis? Sure. And then you're in there and then you're actually getting like a sermon read to you, but you're also smoking weed and doing yoga.
I think that is such a magical experience.
That sounds fun.
You're able to blow a blunt and downward dog. Charlie D'Amelio's just hitting the like in sequence with the choir because they've attracted the influencer crowd.
Yeah.
And she's not speaking. I've never heard her speak, but like she's just doing the thing.
I know what she looks like though. And you want to know who lives across the street from this said church? Julia Fox. I'm not going to dox her, but Julia Fox is my neighbor.
Really?
Yes.
Is Julia Fox, is she the girl in Suits?
No, that's Meghan Markle. That's Prince Harry's wife.
No, there's another like white girl on Suits.
No, I don't know. I didn't think Julia Fox had any like she's the uncut Gems girl.
Yes. Okay.
And
now I know. She's on Call Her Daddy.
Kanye.
She's on Call Her Daddy.
Yes. And I have bumped into Julia a few times. She's so nice and so sweet. But yeah, I mean, come on up to Harlem and try your luck at smoking weed and doing yoga and preaching with Miss Julia Fox. It's beautiful up in Harlem, people. I'm getting the tourists. I can hear them.
I would love that.
Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that TikTok is missing because like when you see the dances on the screen, and again goes back to China setting the tone with the less screen time, there's no energy coming from the screen. You're like, this is weird, why are people dancing? This is just like everything that I see. But if it was synced up with music and a choir
Yeah.
and weed
Mm-hmm.
and yoga, and there's like a place to disperse
If I'm smoking
all
weed,
those moves.
I'm having the time of my life.
Yes, 100%. You need an energy. It's not like TikTok is weird because it takes the energy out of dancing. Like it's just like when you see people like going like this in silence.
Yes.
You're just like the dancing isn't the weird thing. It's like they're in their room. Like they're in a closed off room.
Yeah.
With no sound.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like hitting something and then putting a song over
I
it.
too used to make dance routines when I was 10 and would perform them in front of my parents who would laugh at me and lock me in a room for 10 days to avoid the internet.
Yeah, and
I concerned you there for a second.
And now you know how to put together an iPhone 12.
Exactly.
Yes.
For a second there, I saw you be like, is she telling me real trauma?
I don't want
And I was like, no, I'm just playing along. Maybe.
There's definitely something there. We'll monetize your trauma somehow.
Yeah.
That's the thing that we said when we were almost not going to do this podcast. And then I was like, well, what if we could monetize our trauma? And at the same time, we both said yes. And so we need to get
That's
into it.
That's the true story. If you ever take anything seriously, it's that.
Yeah.
We are absolutely trying to monetize our trauma.
I think we'll do one of those like Mr. Beast full send YouTube videos where we just go to the place like China and I become a factory worker for 10 days and traumatize myself on camera. And I like go and I'm just like next to 12-year-olds and I'm just trying to like, does this piece go here or where does the case go?
An 8-year-old makes like 50 films in the time that you make one.
Yeah. And the kid next to me is just fucking like pumping that, just like going down the factory line, just an absolute savage. I start to cry. He's telling me I'm a pussy, but I don't understand it because it's in another language. And he's just wiping
he's like, you tall, blonde-headed, stupid idiot.
Bitch, I'll make your phones I'll feed your family for you. I'm feeding my family right now, but give me yours too, and I'll put food in their mouth.
My family of 4, because that's all we're allowed to have.
And he's wiping my tears, and I'm just like, God damn, like, that was a hard 10 days.
Yeah,
and
you would need a retreat to the Harlem churches after that to come back to life. They would expel the Chinese demons.
See, I think I would be more okay with these Chinese factories if there was a black church for these little Chinese kids to go to after hours. After hours to de-stress.
Yes.
And you want to get close to the Lord. And just imagine 100 Chinese kids in the pews, just like clapping their like their hands that are broken from making phones. They have all these callus, but then the choir's just like pumping the Holy Spirit back into them, led by Lizzo. And the Chinese kids, they're kind of like sad when they walk in, but by the time they leave, they're just like this.
Yes, that's so
at the end.
Oh,
and that's how
beautiful.
And that's how you end cultural divide. That's how you bring
it's a start.
The world together.
At least we put something up, on the table.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing.
If there was one black church in North Korea, Kim Jong-un would free them all right now. That's
Yes.
I think if you're gonna infiltrate North Korea, you need to start with a black church and just you need to fill Kim Jong-un with the soul that he's been missing.
Yes.
You can't want to enslave and you can't want to do negative when you're filled with the Holy Spirit, when you're filled with that.
He's going to get a taste of that after sermon triple, quadruple cheese, mac and cheese. And he's going to be like, whoa, I'm a changed person.
Yeah. No wonder these terrorists are scared of black women because they're afraid of their own feelings.
That's right.
That's what they're really like in that moment when she steps into the aisle and is just like, that terrorist then just has a super introspective moment and flashes back to their childhood and is like, is this what I wanted to do with my life to all these people?
There's time to change.
There's time to change. And he just sits down. And everyone goes back and it's a safe flight.
Yes.
And the terrorist starts crying when he gets off the plane and the black woman
the auntie's
is
just like,
You didn't know you were part of a system. It was a systemic problem. You were part of it. You didn't know what you were doing. Come here, child. Come here. Come to church with me on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And then that's how you bring people
healing.
together.
That's healing.
Yeah, the ultimate healing.
Yeah.
And you guys could heal with us too, more than once a week.
Yes.
If you want. We still did you still have one more story, or was that
where are we on time?
1:22. We could do something quick if you wanted to.
Okay. Real quick, we can stay on the topic of kids.
Yeah. More kids.
Yeah, let's stay on the topic of kids. I thought this was interesting. So are you familiar with Dax Shepard and Kristin Bell? They are a married couple.
The power celebrity couple.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Dax Shepard is a funny guy. He's been in movies like Without a Paddle. That's really the only one that I love. So, but he's been in other things, right?
Fucking the one with the car where they go on the ramp.
Hit and run.
Fucking not Tropic Thunder.
What? Top Gear America? No. I'm trying to look.
Dukes of Hazzard, the new one. I think.
Okay. Yes. And then Kristin Bell is really famous for her show, Veronica Mars, but also if you've seen...
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say. That's an iconic movie. So yeah, they've been together for a long time, married for a long time. They seem like a perfect Hollywood funny couple.
Yeah. Dax Shepard, also one of the biggest podcasters in the world.
Indeed. Shout out Dax. Yeah. Let us know if you'd like to come on and talk about this.
We'll definitely think about it.
Explain yourself. Because it came out, this is from CNN, that Dax Shepard and Kristin Bell let their children drink non-alcoholic beer. And I just found this so interesting because, in theory, it's non-alcoholic beer. So it's like, I guess they can drink that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but it looks like there's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it looks like they're raising a bunch of pussies who drink non-alcoholic beer. That's the first thing that would pop. My childhood trauma would be remembering the times when my dad fed me O'Doul's instead of handing me a Bud Light. And being like, here's a real beer, son. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, Dad, you for years, you let me think that I was a man and you were just giving me these 0.02% alcoholic beverages.
And then they're going to be teens and they're going to think they can crush like real beers.
Yeah.
And they're going to end up getting like shit hammered.
Yeah.
Off of it.
Yeah. But I don't know what to think.
No, me neither. Well, apparently Dax Shepard is a recovering alcoholic, so he drinks non-alcoholic beer. And I guess how many kids do they have? I think they have a couple kids. They have a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and 2 kids. So a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, or maybe I don't fucking know. It's now they're saying 9-year-old. Just tell me one age. But so when she was this little girl was a baby, she grabbed an alcoholic beverage from a table while they were out of the country and took a sip. That led Belle to share why non-alcoholic beers are special in their family, starting with her story with context is important because Kristin's not standing for any of this because so many people are kind of outraged by it. But I just guess when you look at the paperwork, there's nothing in there. Like that might be better for them than slurping down like fucking soda pops.
Yeah. And also, who does Dax Shepard think he is to push sobriety upon his children? That is a decision.
They need to go down their own alcoholism road first.
There's no sobriety without breakdown. You have to let your children choose whatever path they're going to do. Go through the bumps, go through the bruises, wake up in a ditch, burping something that smells like a combination of vodka sodas and throw up.
Yeah.
Look someone in the eyes who you're not quite sure if you had sex with the night before, and that looks totally different from what you thought they looked like last night.
Yes.
Feel your pants and feel the empty space where your wallet, phone, and keys used to be, and then have a panic
It's
attack.
a universal experience.
Be in a different city than the one that you started drinking in.
Oh, no.
And then choose sobriety.
Yes.
But don't push that on your toddlers. Let them make that important decision.
It's kind of badass, though, because I'm like, football season's coming up. It's like, hey, little kid, go get us a couple beers. Get yourself one, too. And then they just come back and they got their O'Douls and, we got our beer and we're just cracking it open and eating chicken wings together. Like, talk about the coolest little kid.
I do think it would be funny to get the O'Douls in a Bud Light can or just have specially made ones that you see the kids crack open, but it's not alcoholic beer, but just in front of your friends that have no idea. And you see like a 4-year-old finishing a Bud Light and stomping it into the ground, being like, get my fucking milk.
Where my
yeah. They're just like in their crib fucking using one of their toys to shotgun a Bud Light.
Yeah. I think that's great. So, and Kristen Bell says she doesn't care about judgment. Keep it to yourself. So Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard are in no way stopping their children from crushing a 6-pack of O'Douls.
Yeah.
And they're going to be so good at funneling and chugging beer by the time they get to college. They're going to be set.
I don't judge them. My concern is, for real, to me, and I speak for a lot of people when I say this, alcohol does not taste good. And what I mean by that is if you had to purely quench your thirst, beer, liquor, these are not the first things that people grab out of a choice of just, this is a great taste. This is flavorfully pleasing to me.
Yeah.
I worry if by giving your kids non-alcoholic beer that tastes the same as alcoholic beer, just without the alcohol, you're training your kids to crave the taste of alcohol. So they're not only battling possibly future addictions to alcohol, but like, this is my favorite tasting thing in the world because I've been drinking it since I was 5.
Yeah. I mean, you're kind of right. I remember the first time I drank a Miller Lite. I thought, because I'd seen my dad drink so many Miller Lights growing up. That's his favorite beer. And as I got to be like, 12, 13, I was like, I want to know what that magic can is all about. So then I cracked one open and I took a sip and it was the worst tasting fucking thing I've ever had in my life. It was so bad. I was like, who drinks this? Now put a Miller Lite in front of me.
Yeah.
I could drink it in one sip.
And magic cans are also what priests call children's butt cheeks. Let me see those magic cans. Shake them for me one time.
No.
Not in black churches though.
No.
But yeah, I do like, whenever I've had alcohol, whiskey, beer, it's always, this tastes good for whiskey or this tastes good for beer. But like, it's not something like when I drink like a fucking iced tea, for example, with no alcohol in it, and I just slug it because I'm so fucking thirsty. I do think that you could somehow influence kids drinking it from a young age to,
I think so,
to like crave that taste. You know what I mean?
So. I agree. I guess that's probably why there's a lot of outrage. But I guess in theory, like it's not illegal. Like anybody under 18 can buy non-alcoholic beer. So it's illegal and it's within their household. And I guess it also depends on like the kids, right? I mean, how well do you know your kids? Like some kids, I think it should be a little bit concerning because clearly addiction runs in the family.
Yeah.
So like for me, I do not have an addictive personality. I've always been able to like just do something, put it down, like, and never need it again. But my dad doesn't really, my mom doesn't really. Like here we have Dax Shepard, who clearly does have an addictive personality. And now, even though your kids are probably cool and intellectual, especially because they're rich and so they get to live like just a more cultured life and are probably more mature than most 10-year-olds, they're still like they still probably have like addictive traits. Like,
yeah, like in your genetics.
Yes.
For sure. You can pass down addictive tendencies.
Yeah.
My question is, how far do you go with the fake version of the drug or the drink? Like, do you give them fake cigarettes?
You give them like
the movie cigarettes.
Yes.
You have them drinking O'Doul's.
Remember those? Do you remember fake cigarettes? There was like a candy.
I've never, I know what they are, but I've never had them.
I had them when I was a kid and I forgot all about them, and it just came up recently and I was like, wow, that was fucking crazy. But also, can you imagine they're taking out they're like, take out a fake bank card and they just toss some like Fun Dip on the table and they're like, you line it up like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and Dak Shepard is like,
this
is how your dad used to do it. This isn't going to get you high. The sugar won't get you nearly as high as what I used to do, but we'll learn.
I want you to be prepared.
Like that's like, I guess deep down what my concern would be is like, you're going through the motions of drug use without the actual drugs. Mm-hmm. So like, how far do you take that? You have the Fun Dip cocaine.
Yes.
You have the fake cigarettes. Mm-hmm. You saline heroin.
Yeah.
Like,
there's plenty of things that are like LSD tabs and Molly. I mean, just toss a Skittle in there.
Yeah, you do like one of those put a Swedish fish under your tongue, and your Dak Shepard's like, all right, make sure you feel it melt before you swallow.
Yeah.
Like, how far? Like, what is the point? I guess, like, what is the benefit of charading your kids with drugs? Why not just keep them away from the drugs until they're ready to do the real thing? You hope you can do that, or like be honest with them around the age of 15 or 16 when you suspect things could start, and give them all the information rather than kind of like lubing them up with a fake version of it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you totally. I don't think I would. I'm not buying non-alcoholic beer, for one. So there won't be any in my house for my child to drink.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, hey, we're not parents.
Yeah.
So what can we do?
I agree with that, though. If my child steals a beer from the fridge, he's going to get drunk. He's going to know the consequences. I'm not going to keep any of that fake shit in the house.
That's right.
Just like I've heard parents that catch their kids smoking cigarettes and they make them smoke an entire pack.
Oh my
chain
God,
smoke it,
so fucked.
And it's the worst thing ever. If you're 3 years old and you steal a Bud Light, I swear to God,
you better drink everyone in that case.
While you're watching Dylan Mulvaney do the video, every single one, you're gonna watch that Instagram reel she did to promote 12 times in a row while you're killing a 12 case of Bud Light.
We will not get into this, but did you see that Kid Rock was drinking a Bud Light?
No.
Oh yeah, it just came out. Like, he was photographed at a concert like just the other day drinking a Bud Light, and of course it had people outraged.
Pussy.
But it's like, I'm just saying though, like,
pussy.
I'm more like, everybody needs to wake up. Wake up. People don't give a fuck about any of this stuff. It's all just media. Literally just stop being so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, drink your Bud Light. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. It's a good, I mean, it's not a good beer, but for what it is, which is
a cheap beer. Yeah, cheap light beer.
It's all right.
Yeah, I don't care who drinks that.
And whether you're 3 or 30, you should be able to experience that for real from your parents. Okay. Seriously though, there have been studies that have shown that European kids have grown up more well-adjusted than American kids. Do you think European parents are giving their kids fake wine at the dinner table when they're growing up? They're like, no, you're going to learn how to tolerate the real shit.
That's a good point.
So that when you're 18, when it's legal over there to drink alcohol, it's not going to be this fucking like drunk fest of a day where you get alcohol poisoning and 2 of your friends fall off a boat because this is the first time you've ever been drunk. It's like, no, you're finish your homework, you're going to have this glass of wine, and you're going to learn how to drink like a man or a woman, or in between.
Yes, I was going to. No.
Yeah.
You need to include everything in between.
Non-winery.
Yes. Non-winery.
There's some wine that just doesn't identify as a cab or Merlot. Sometimes
That's
you got
true,
the non-winery cab Sauvignon.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not a wine person, but I believe you.
I haven't fact checked a single thing I've said in the past 5 years, so I'm gonna go.
Same.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and say that
you're right.
You should double check that. But I'm also right.
Yes.
Because I don't identify with facts or fiction.
That's correct.
I'm non-finery.
Stop.
But thank you.
He's on a roll, people.
Yes. And also, on rolls is what priests also find themselves doing sometimes if they go to a white church.
Yeah.
And also, if you're TSA, if you're a terrorist going through TSA, you're on duct tape rolls, taping bombs around your chest, just walking through while people with Gatorade bottles get tackled to the floor.
Yeah.
And everyone gets congratulated. We need to make some changes. We need to identify that there are systemic problems in TSA, in churches, in drinking, parenting.
Seriously.
It's not always the people are they got to take responsibility for their actions, but also we got to change up the systems. And if the systems aren't working, we got to fucking throw a wrench in it and see what happens.
That's right.
And that's what we do on Breaking Takes. We're
changing
actually the world.
If more people listened, then yeah.
Yeah. If TSA,
we need
terrorists,
yes,
priests,
we need all of China
and Dak Shepard
to listen in.
Yeah.
That's what they're probably trying. They're like, all these kids want to listen to Breaking Takes, and we need to limit that.
Yeah.
Can't give them time.
If you're a Chinese billionaire listening to this, go ahead and subscribe to Breaking Takes Premium 1,000 times because you can afford it. But also gift that subscription away to the people in China so they can learn from our ways and we can learn from them. Give them, if you're going to make them work in factories from sun up to sundown, give them interesting premium episodes to listen to.
I agree.
And that's actually how we modeled the premium episode pay system, which is you can subscribe for bonus episodes every month for what a Chinese factory child worker makes per month. So it's $5 and you get bonus episodes. You get AMAs where you can ask me and Sam anything. You get the entire back catalog of bonus episodes, which grows every month. We just threw up the first full episode there. There's mini-sodes up there. So yeah, breakingtakes.supercast.com, $5 a month. And if you also want to pay a little bit more, you can become part of the show and suggest topics for us to talk about and rant about and literally become part of the pod.
Yeah, we would love that. We would love to hear from you. We would love for you to leave a review and ask us anything. So subscribe.
Literally anything.
Literally
You've
anything.
Heard what we're willing to talk about.
I'm pretty much willing to talk about it all.
Yes. breakingtakes.supercast.com. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.
Peace.